and welcome back to Sparkle Me Pink. My name's Michelle, and today I'm going to be demo and reviewing a couple of products that was sent to me from Amazing Cosmetics. I have 3 products to talk about today. The first will be the Amazing Concealer Foundation from Amazing Cosmetics. Then we have the Amazing Cosmetics Amazing Concealer. How many times can you say amazing in a sentence? And then the Amazing Cosmetics Velvet Mineral Powder Set Setting Powder for the Face. When doing a little bit of research for doing this video, I pulled up the Ulta website and the Sephora one, and I wasn't able to find that foundation on either of them. The only place that I could find the foundation was on the Amazing Cosmetics website, so I'm not certain if that means that they're pulling this from their stock or reformulating possibly. I did see on Ulta they had like a gray white bottle, so I'm not certain if that's like a different version or whatnot. I didn't look that much further into it, but let's jump to the concealer. So on the Sephora website specifically, there's 2 different Amazing Cosmetic concealers. There's one that says it's a to-go, and then there's one that's the regular concealer. The one that I have here is not the to-go, it is actually the full size. It is 0.5 fluid ounces, and it is for $42 on the Sephora website. It comes in about 8 shades on here. A couple of them sold out at the moment, so that only means that they're selling them. I will leave a link to this down below, that way you can find the exact site that I'm looking at, or exact page and product. And then I specifically have this one pulled up on Ulta at the moment, and this is the powder. And this retails for $27 and has 0.32 ounces. Okay, something I want to mention before we get into the tutorial is that I found a set on the Sephora website. It's called the Amazing Concealer Flawless Face Set. And it has a brush, the concealer, a powder, and it looks like a primer for $47. So I'm assuming that it's the smaller bottle of the concealer. And I'll give you a little spoiler here. You only need a little bit, goes a long way. So maybe getting this in that travel size wouldn't be too bad. So that set is $47. I will link that down below as well. I think it is totally worth it at that price point, and getting each of those products to try out together. Okay, let's jump right into the demo. Okay, so let's get started with the demo. The first product I want to show you guys is the foundation, and mine came in a pink tube, although I saw online that maybe there is a grayish tube, but this one is specifically called the Amazing Concealer Foundation, and it is in light golden and is 1.18 fluid ounces. So I mentioned that because this one is called the Amazing Concealer, whereas this one's called the Amazing Concealer Foundation. So not to get those confused. As I kind of mentioned before, I'm not exactly sure if this is something that has been pulled from the line, but is still being sold on the website, so I figured I would show you nonetheless. I'll be honest and straight up right off the bat, it's not one of my favorite products from them that they sent to me to try out. Actually, you can see here, I just opened it up and there's a lot of oily substance. I'm gonna stop myself right here, and the box does specifically say to shake gently before use, and I didn't read that before taking it out of the box or using it, so let's go back. And I haven't had this for very long, so let me go ahead and mix it up. It's very creamy and thick, so I'm gonna mix it around on my hand. I do have my palette here, but I'll do it on my hand so that it's warm and kind of mixes it up. It's very full coverage, very thick, at least it looks that way. So when I get it onto my skin, it feels nice and moisturizing, but look what happens when I blend it out. So I'm going to blend in this side with a brush. This is the Moda toothbrushy middle-sized one. There is a foundation-sized one, like this guy. It comes in a set of 3 or 4, I forget. 4. Comes in a set of 4. They sell them at Walmart. I love these so much, but this one's a little bit too big for my face. I feel like I have kind of a smaller petite face, if I do say so myself. So I like using this middle-sized one. I'm going to use that on this side, and then my Eco Tool sponge on this side to show you the difference in the application. I can zoom you in a little bit further. So it does generally help even out my skin, but you can very much still see my like acne spots poking through. And even if I go in with just a little bit more in those areas, it's really hard to build this up. It gives me tinted BB cream vibes. And it looks pretty matte on the skin now. But my experience with it is that halfway through the day, it starts to look like the initial, like how this looks kind of shiny. It starts to look like that on me. Okay, so then for this side, I'll pick up some excess on here to help with the blending process. This makes it a little bit more difficult to like using the sponge makes it more difficult. I definitely think brush application is best for this. This is just not doing anything. I think it's picking up most of the product rather than helping blending it. Yeah, literally it says on the box that apply a small amount of product for medium coverage and more liberal for full coverage using your fingertips or foundation brush. I totally agree with that it applies better with using a brush than using the beauty blender. It kind of makes it a little more splotchy using sort of a beauty sponge to apply it. Just for the sake of the review, I'm going to shake it some more and see if I can apply a second layer. In the past when I've done this, I'm not being very successful with it. And I'm using quite a bit of product. I think something to keep in mind is, even though this doesn't work for me, doesn't mean it's not necessarily going to work for you. But at the same time, this really didn't work for me, so much so that I've had a difficult time finding a day to film this video because I knew it wasn't going to be like a good makeup day. I know that sounds really horrible and I'm so sorry because like I know Amazing Cosmetics sent me these products, but it's just, I really don't like this foundation. See how it's literally just pushing it no matter how much I'm very lightly doing little circles, and it's really gunking up my brush. Like this, see how it's very gunky looking? It looked like this one just before. You can see the difference in the bristles. Just, I don't know, it's just a very interesting texture. Let's see if I can do it with my fingertips a little bit better. I'm just trying to cover up as much as possible with it. Okay, so enough with the foundation. Let's move on to the Amazing Cosmetics Amazing Concealer. This is in light golden and the tube is, what size is this? 0.5 fluid ounces. The package reads the world's best concealer. And it claims, or it says on the side, the celebrity makeup artist's favorite multi-purpose full coverage concealer. A small amount is all you need to erase any imperfection. It does say shake gently on this packaging. I haven't had any issues with this separating though, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to squeeze a little bit onto the back of my hand. That's probably, I say a little bit, but that's actually quite a lot. You really don't need a lot when it comes to this concealer. And this I like to apply with my fingertips. I've tried applying this with brushes or with my makeup sponges, but it really just doesn't come out very nicely. So I'm going to take my fingertip, and it's a very, let me see if I can show you the consistency of it. It's very thick and almost like a gel. See how it's kind of got like a little, it's got like a tacky sort of texture to it. You know what this reminds me of? The IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer. Very similar in that sort of feeling, but this covers very well, but it is also very emollient. You have to set this, but at the same time you have to be careful that you're not applying too much, because you can go from looking like very dewy and then set it with a powder and looking cake face with this, because it's so tacky. It'll soak up that powder right away and make it look like you have so much makeup on. I'm trying to, This is really good for when you have super dry patches around your nose and your concealer. Like, I tried to use Shape Tape in that area, but Shape Tape from Tarte is very, like, it has a lot of coverage, but it's very dry, kind of. Whereas this one has more of a moisturizing base feel to it, and I feel like it doesn't annoy my skin. Like, it sits on top of uneven patches very nicely. Very full coverage. Or breakouts that are drying out, like this top one up here, the skin kind of can get a little bit dry, and this sits on it very nicely. It does feel a little bit heavy on the skin even when I go in with a very light coat. So for me, it's not an everyday concealer unless there's a specific spot where I need this feeling of, like, the feel that this concealer gives me on just that specific spot. Like today, I'm kind of using it all over. Typically, I would not use it on every single breakout or every single perfection. It's just too much. I'm gonna kind of blend out around the edges around the breakout. It's a little bit lighter of a tone than I probably need, but it's the same name as the foundation. So let's move on to the under eyes. This is probably the only area that I'm not super in love with this. I tend to over apply it. So let's try to do a light hand today, because when I over apply it, it looks very heavy and creases. Whereas I feel like if I can find that perfect balance of just putting it on lightly, it really covers very well. Like, look at those dark circles just gone. And again, just using my fingertips to kind of pull out the product up and out. So if you can still see a little bit of my darkness in here, even though I did a very thin coat trying to avoid building it up too much too quickly. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit more to try to build it up in those specific areas that I need it. And some on my lid. See, this feels good under my eyes though. I feel like my under eyes need this kind of hydrating product and the coverage. The only thing you have to be careful is, like, when I'm pouncing my finger, even though this is the finger that I've been using, this is my ring finger, using the product on, so there's some on there. If you, like, hit a certain area, you could see your fingerprint. Like, it'll move it quite a bit, so you have to be really careful and play around with it. So definitely not something I use when I'm trying to get my makeup done quickly, like if I'm running late for work or something. So something to keep in mind, but it is really good. See down here, I need to blend it out better. Got it all over my lips, ignore that. Just don't like that you can see it in here. I'm trying to use my fingertips to blend it out. Make it look as natural and skin-like as possible. So at this point, pretty much everything is covered, and especially with a product like this, I need to set it. And this is where the Velvet Mineral Powder Set comes in from Amazing Cosmetics. This I have been using almost every single day since the package came. And as you can see, it's already domed. That is how much I have been using this guy. I really, really like this, and I'll show you why. I'm going to use, and it looks really dirty, this is an e.l.f. Makeup sponge, but I always keep it dry, so even if I rinse it off, it comes right off even without soap. Now I use it dry because this powder, I've tried to use a damp sponge in it, and it kind of bunches up too much. So I want to leave its like soaking up mineral properties for on my face. You can see that my eye makeup is already creasing because, like I said, it's got that slip to it. So I'm trying to blend it out, but now it's picking up more product, which is a little frustrating. So now I feel like I need to put more product down because now it's not as covered as I want it to be. And then going in like this. This is why there's that little dip in there. I'm kind of digging into that, picking it up on the dry sponge. And then sometimes I'll roll it. Into there. Now it does take away a little bit of the brightening effect, but it's not taking away it's not really doing that. What it's doing is it's taking away the shine of the concealer. That's why it looks more dull on this side than this side. It's not making it more dull, it's just taking away the shine like it's supposed to. I'm also going to do it with this method around my nose. And rolling it across the top of my nose, just whatever extra is there. Now for the other areas of my face, I'm going to take this tapered highlighter brush from Ulta I and pick up a little bit of this. This is very powdery, so you have to be careful when using it with a brush. And then I'm going to start dabbling that on top, because I feel like if I sweep, I'm just gonna move the makeup away from where I want it to be. Whereas packing it on like this very lightly, like I'm not using a lot of powder at all in these other areas. And then sometimes after it's been a couple minutes, I'll pick up just a tiny little baby bit and swipe away the little baby baking that I did around my nose and under my eye. That way there's no like heavy amounts of powder anywhere. That's what it looks like close up. You can still see a little bit of my scarring over here. With this, I'm just going to try to build up a little bit more without getting too cakey. Okay, I just fixed up the rest of my face just a little bit. My eyes are a little bit blank, but I had to warm up the skin. I couldn't look at myself so base face anymore. But putting on the rest of my makeup on top of the setting powder, it goes on so smooth. I even use something as drugstore as the NYX Double Date Cheek and Contour Duo, so I didn't even use something that was high-end to go over this, and it goes on really smooth. I do truly like and love this product. But to be perfectly honest, it is more so on the high-end side, so I would have to reevaluate when I'm done with this if I've tried other drugstore products that would live up to this guy's capabilities. So I'll have to keep you posted on that, but at this time, I am using this pretty much every single day. As I mentioned, the foundation has to be my least favorite out of the whole trio that was sent to me. I just don't like it for me personally. You may have to try it out in the store, but like I was saying before, I don't even know if you could find it anymore. The only place I could find it was actually on the Amazing Cosmetics website. It wasn't on Ulta or Sephora.com. As for the concealer, I feel like this would be really good for us girls that have acne problems, and using it on those little isolated areas. It's not my favorite to use under the eye. You totally can, as I did today, but it's just not, I feel like it's more fuss and work than it needs to be. There's other products out there that work better for under the eye. That is just me personally, but as I mentioned doing the tutorial, it feels good under there because it does have that little bit of a slip, and maybe if you went in with a different concealer on top and kind of layered it a little bit more, maybe then it would be easier and, you know, better for underneath your eye. Overall, I'm really grateful to give these products a chance and be able to share my experience with you guys. Let me know what you think about them in the comments down below. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Check out my blog at sparklemepink.com. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.